including underage children. One's 17 and the other one's 19.
Tanya Chutkan.
As I said, Chutkan. By the way, she's recused herself on a lot of Fusion GPS cases because she used to work at Boys and Schiller, David Boys' law firm that did work for Fusion GPS. She has her hands all over all these scandals. And when I started looking at that opinion and her decision, well, what else do illegal immigrants get? Do they get? Well, I guess they can get the earned income tax credit if that's even it still survives after this legislation. But the whole thing is just ridiculous. By the way, Nancy Pelosi yesterday, do we have that sound? Went crazy about the tax reform bill. The woman is completely unhinged. Hey, it's Armageddon. Then she went on. She said Armageddon the other day. I don't know how it gets worse than Armageddon, but it did.
It's daylight robbery. And every iteration, the GOP tax scam becomes even more cowardly, outrageous, dishonest, brazen theft from middle-class families, giving money from them to the richest people in our country and to corporations. It's a monumental con job.
Wait a second. We got to play that.
This is corporate theft.
Theft and corporations. Okay, let me just say this. Give me your phone. Give me your phone. Give me your phone.
You're going to be infected if I give it to you.
Raymond Arroyo has apparently the need for an ear trumpet.
What?
Because the man has the most annoying ring on his phone, and for every tweet and text he gets, it's a symphony of annoyance. Bing. No, it's not Bing. Bing would be nice. Yours is every time you get that. No. And Raymond's like, I'm sick. I'm sick all the time. Okay, I'm sick all the time. I got stomach issues. I got my other issues. You know, it's like, oh, I don't feel well. Men, when they're sick, forget it.
Did you read the report
Pathetic.
that it takes us longer to get rid of the virus? Did you read this medical report?
Good, because we have to frankly
that
do it
you
a lot
women
more.
Bounce right back.
Right.
But we are burdened with extra illness.
How many women out there think men who get a cold act like babies?
Oh, please.
Men who get colds. Oh, I'm so sick. I have the chills. I'll give you the chills.
I was about to say, last night I did have the chills.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's because my angle was so good.
Oh,
that's because...
No, that's the tremors, not the chills.
Things got out of hand. Well, things got a little out of hand last night. How many of you watched the Ingraham angle last night? We're going to have a free-for-all on this show. I could tell this is going to be a free-for-all. We're going to talk to Vice President Pence, both on this show and on the Ingraham angle tonight, so you're not going to want to miss it. Dave Bratt's going to join us. He had a dust-up with Katie Kerr. Tur, not Kerr. Oh,
easy there.
Oh, jeez, that's terrible. Katie Tur. I always get her mixed up with that other MSNBC person. Who's that one I get her mixed up with?
Casey Hunt.
Katie Tur and Casey Hunt.
Too many cases.
It's Casey, I don't know who they are. But anyway, she had a big dust up with Dave Bratt yesterday, which again, I think it just demonstrates how positively desperate the left is. At the end of the year, the last thing they wanted was Trump to have a big legislative victory. The only thing I could imagine happening now is Bob Mueller issues a subpoena for like Ivanka Trump to come testify, or I don't discount the possibility that
December surprise.
The Grinch over at Mueller's office might drop something before Christmas Eve. Yeah, I don't doubt that. I don't know. I get some bad vibes coming out of there. But the Democrats were hoping that was what they were going to get for Christmas, and that Mueller was going to get the smoking gun, and Vladimir Putin's chief of staff would sneak to the United States and say, yes, in fact, we were working with Donald Trump the entire time, and he was hoping that we were going to drop all these emails that we were able to get very easily on the DNC and in the WikiLeaks. In Trump, he gave us all of the right tips for how to steal these emails and then give them to our friends at Wiki. At Wiki. No, but they're hoping for something like that. But they don't, so far they haven't gotten that. They got a big goose egg. That Andrew McCabe was on Capitol Hill for 7.5 hours. Did he get a bathroom break, or did he have to have one of those catheters inserted? The deputy FBI director, he was there. He was sweating through his suit, I imagine. The fact that he's even still in that position is beyond me. Jeff Sessions' recusal, I still say this. He gets coal in his stocking from me for that recusal on the Russia thing. I love Jeff Sessions. Everybody knows that. But he gets coal in his stocking from me for the recusal. He never should have recused himself. Huge mistake. And then he should never put that weasel Rod Rosenstein in as number 2. He's a weasel. Sorry. Looks like a weasel. His body language. Can we find a body language expert for the Ingraham angle? Not the one that O'Reilly used to have. I never was all that wowed by her, but we should get a body language expert. I totally believe in body language. Like, your body language tells a lot about you. So right now, Raymond is resting his chin on his hand in a very, I'm sick way. So he's indicating.
By the way, I found the Time magazine piece where indeed there are studies that show that men suffer from colds worse than women. Our immune systems are slower to react to the invading virus.
I was sick last week, and I only took 3 days to get better.
Well, goody for you.
But my stomach now has been hurting for 3 days.
See, God'll get you.
For that
That's called a little payback, Arthur.
So, all right, 855-40-LAURA. Did you watch the Ingraham angle last night? And specifically, did you catch the segment with the first segment with Scott Bolden and Sean Duffy and Joe Trippi?
Is Duffy and Trippi, are they still under the table?
They were scared. Actually, I think they got scared. But it was about race and President Trump. And then my segment with a, quote, trial attorney in Boston who was defending this judge's decision to stop the Trump administration from preventing 2 illegal immigrants from getting abortions in the United States. Go home to your home country. You want an abortion, go home to your home country. And if it's illegal there, you can go somewhere else that wants to oversee this. By the way, one of the women's babies is 6 months in the womb. 6 months in the womb. We showed a picture of what a 6-month preborn baby looks like, by the way. She didn't like that at all. So did you see those segments, and what was your reaction? 855-40-LAURA. We'll take a break, come right back, and remember, Pence is going to join us, also Dave Brad. Don't go. 2018 is right around the corner. Can you believe it? And that means your car is going to cost more to fix on January 1st. That's because it's another year older and parts cost more for older cars. So if you're out of the manufacturer's warranty, get the peace of mind that comes with extended vehicle service protection from CarShield. It's affordable protection that can save you hundreds, even thousands for a covered repair. They even have plans that cover your car's computer, your GPS, electronics, and so much more. So if your car is between 3 and 12 years old, doesn't mean you have to pay high repair bills. You can have your favorite mechanic or your dealership do the work, and CarShield will get them paid directly. Sign up today, and you're going to get 24/7 roadside assistance and a rental car while yours is in the shop. CarShield administrators have paid out close to $2 billion in claims, and they're ready to help you. Get extended vehicle service protection before it's too late. Call 800-CAR-6100, mention the code Laura, or just go visit carshield.com and use the code Laura, and you'll save 10%. That's carshield.com, code Laura.
A deductible may apply.
If you've listened to my show for any period of time, you know how much I love Food for the Poor. They do what they say. Their financial integrity is unequaled, and I've seen their work personally. I'm so excited to work with them again this year. In Haiti, 1 out of 14 children will never see the age of 5 without our help. Together, we're going to save the lives of 4,200 children. $50 provides food for a year and clean water for life for a suffering child. Call 844-868-4673 or go to lauraingraham.com. That's 844-868-4673 or go to lauraingraham.com.
Paul Ryan needed a win, that's for sure. Donald Trump did what Congress couldn't do. He stripped the Obamacare mandate out of that behemoth, nightmarish piece of legislation that Barack Obama ran through in 2010. And his people had the idea with Congress to strip it out through this reconciliation process, and they did it. That was a gutting of Obamacare, in addition to other regulatory moves they're making at HHS, because the incoming Secretary of HHS, Alex Azar, will be using his pen and his authority, his cabinet authority, to do even more work to undo the red tape and the massive strangulation to the free market that has occurred through HHS regulatory moves. And that's going to be fantastic news in the new year. So all in all, I'm very positive. I'm very positive about where we are. Think about where we were 6 months ago, and then think about where we are today. Both the economy, foreign policy, a clarity in national security strategy. In my lifetime, I don't remember any president, not Obama or Clinton certainly, who had delivered a new national security strategy in his first year and gave a speech explaining it. In my memory, I don't recall that having happened. Certainly didn't happen with George W. Bush. Let's go to Jeff in Texas. Jeff, welcome, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I really enjoyed that section last night where those two fellows, Trippy on one end and I forget the guy's name on the other end, were leaning so far away from the guy in the middle, they were almost out of the picture frame.
Well, James, do we have some of that cut up for our audience? All right, we don't have enough time to play it right now, but, well, Sean Duffy was going to just jump under his desk.
I thought he moved back to Wisconsin in the middle of that segment.
He's on a satellite shot suddenly. Well, it got a little heated, but I like Scott Bolden, actually, the guest who was on with us. I actually like him a lot, but you can't be saying Trump's a racist on my show. You're not going to say that. I'm not going to let you say that and not slam back, which is exactly what I did. We come back, Dave Brat, on what the House and the Senate have accomplished this year, specifically whether he thinks the economy will soar in 2018, or is this not enough? This is the last week for Chamonix's Christmas and holiday sale. The countdown continues. You got these brand new treatments for your skin, from the bags and puffiness treatment to even treatment for droopy eyelids, by the way, which you get free when you order Genucel for bags and puffiness. They work like a dream. It's awesome. You're going to love the skincare line from Genucel. And the great thing is if you go to Genucel.com, that's Genucel.com, or you call them at 800-480-5206, you can order in the next 20 minutes and you get 2 more classics totally free. That's the Esotique RF Collagen Builder and the Deep Firming Serum for free. And you call or click in the next 10, and you get the Lasons. It's the neck treatment. I use that at night. And express shipping is also free. So you can get this all in time for Christmas. This is awesome. Express shipping free? Who gives that? Order now and you get 6 free gifts. Little stocking stuffers there as well. 800-480-5206. Supplies are limited. As always, they always sell out at 800-480-5206 or Genucel.com. Quack like a scam? Oh my goodness.
Big metaphors.
Jeez, put that metaphor in a butter churner. What the heck? Butter churn.
Butter churn.
Butter churn. You're listening to your healthy radio addiction. Who is that? Who's that bloviator? I can picture him. He looks like Bill Donahue from the Catholic League. Who?
Joe Crowley.
Oh, Joe Crowley. He looks like he sounds like he's just come from the local bar, down like a couple of pints, mixing his metaphors terribly. Merry Christmas to everyone. I want to thank everybody for listening to this show all year long. Many of you have listened for many years. And also, of course, for supporting the new show on Fox, the Ingraham Angle, 10 p.m. Eastern, and Billionaire at the Barricades, which a lot of people are now just getting around to reading it. But I hope you get a copy, pick up a copy over the holidays or before Christmas. Order it from Amazon. Send it to one of your family members or friends, and tell them Laura sent you. I know you love the book, and lots of stories from my own political history that you haven't heard before. My meeting with Richard Nixon, my time with Reagan, and Justice Thomas, and a lot more. So you're not going to want to miss that read. A lot has happened over the last year, and we've had a lot to be complaining about at times, with the failure to repeal Obamacare and kind of the bungled rollout of the travel ban and getting off on the wrong foot with Mike Flynn and then firing Comey and the Democrats' resistance, the protests in the street, the Women's March. There's been a lot to kind of grouse about, but my goodness, at the same time, there's so much to be thankful for. And this president, through all of it, kept his eye on the prize. His eye was on the American people. The goal is to make your life better. He's not perfect. He's made some missteps. There's no doubt about it. We all do. But after a year in office, he has done more than most presidents that I can recall in recent memory. And we'll see next year how this tax reform plays out for the average working person in this country. But I believe that we're going to bring more capital back to this country. We'll have a higher rate of manufacturing. We'll have more jobs, and we'll also have higher wages. And if that happens, I don't think any rumblings from Bob Mueller or Megyn Kelly's continuing to parade out supposed sexual harassment victims are going to change the calculus for the American people. Joining us now is one of the heroes of conservatism, our friend Dave Bratt from Virginia's 7th District, who, of course, has been a voice of reason throughout this year and process with the tax reform. Dave, it's great to have you on. How you doing?
Hey, Lord, great. I was just in a breakfast with Ron Maxwell, who did Gettysburg and Gods and Generals and has been a fighter on DACA and immigration. He said to say hey and say hey to the audience. So,
love Ron.
Great day.
He is a fantastic guy. Let's talk about the tax reform. There were missed opportunities. There were missed opportunities in the tax reform, clearly. I think we could have had a simpler bill and probably had more clear tax cuts to individuals and so forth. Now we have how many brackets? 7 brackets? 9 brackets?
Yep.
7, I think. So give me the good news and then perhaps what might not be so good in the new year if we don't play our cards right.
Yeah, well, the good news is when we go to conference, that usually horrifies some of us, right? When you go to conference with the Senate, it's not a good track record. They base planned it on health care, et cetera. We gave them a budget 90 days ago, 12 approach bills. They've done nothing. But on this one, they did get some things right. And, I always the basics are what you look at. So a single mom's going to get over $1,000 back. The average family's going to get $2,059 back, right? $70,000, family of 4, 2 kids. $2,000. That's a lot of money. And then the more important than the money, right? And I taught economics for 20 years. I taught kids that couldn't find a good job over the past 10 years, right? So the main thing you want is success for your kids where they're going to have multiple job offers. And so how do you know if that's going to happen? Well, the stock market, 70 all-time highs. The Federal Reserve is raising interest rates. That shows you that not only is the stock market going up, but the real economy, which is more important, right? The underlying economy on GDP growth is strong. When they're raising interest rates, which they haven't been able to do, right? We've been dying to get interest rates just back to some normal, sane level, so seniors can have some retirement income and compounding interest. And now that's happening. So we're getting back to normal. It's rocky roads, like you said, right? It feels bumpy at times, but President Trump has stuck to it. And the key is also the deregulation. He's deregulated all the crazy environmental rules, the financial rules. Every part of your house you build every piece of that house is regulated. He's changing this, and this, and it's producing tremendous results already. The Fed says we're growing at 3 right now. The mainstream media has been wrong on everything, right? What'd they say? They said as soon as President Trump is elected, the stock market's going to crash. Nope, totally wrong. All record highs. They said you can't get above 2% growth, right? Mainstream media, the left, Democrats, the new normal, be pathetic like Europe, right? Just, take your place in the global system and grin and bear it. No, we're exceptional. We don't accept that. We're Americans. We're growing at 3. The Fed says we're going to grow at 4 next quarter. So, it's just tremendous strength. It's all good news, and it's all like you, right? You are one of the most positive people. It's all psychology. Once the American people in business feel positive and see hope, and once the kids see hope out there in their future, great things happen, and that's what makes this country so great.
Well, I think that for all the criticism that this president has received, the relentless attacks in the media for small, niggling little things, and the hounding of him and his staff on a daily basis, I think it's amazing that they've been able to accomplish as much as they have. And the economic team, the trade team through Bob Lighthizer and Stephen Vaughn and Wilbur Ross and Peter Navarro, this really is the finest cabinet that I can recall since Reagan. Think about national security. We have H.R. McMaster, who is a real military expert. People don't like everything he does, but he's a real military expert. They had Susan Rice. Think about that for a moment. Just that alone. We've had I think this past year we've seen Trump rise to the occasion, and I think next year it's time to ensure that we have more happy voters, Dave. I think the public is getting weary of the constant chaos. They're getting tired of it. And I think they want some peace and just a sense that things are getting better. And if things are getting better, I think Trump and the Republicans are going to do just fine in 2018.
Yeah, well, and that is the key. The good policy is going to put us in good shape for that. But the left, right now. The resist movement, they don't. We just lost Virginia. A vote came in yesterday. We lost a delegate, so it's 50-50. We had two-thirds of the seats went to 50-50, and those elections were not on policy. The left has hijacked K-12, higher education, and it's just this rage against the machine right now that's going on across the country, and that wave is going to continue. But you're right. If we keep doing success after success, the American people, it's going to come to an end. But before we get lulled, we got one more piece, right? And I hope people go to follow me at DaveBratt.com, et cetera, and the folks you believe in. But DACA is coming up again, right? January 19, buckle your seatbelts, because that thing, there's going to be tremendous pressure. There was already pressure gathering on. Some people are putting in a clean DACA with no reforms whatsoever. And we need to end chain. We need to get the E-Verify in place and the Visa lottery, just for starters. I got a bill to do that. But that piece is going to come back with tremendous pressure and on the president again. And so I hope he'll make a call right after we get past the great news from tax reform. But he needs to come out in public and make a loud call that is not going to happen without significant immigration reform where the numbers go in favor of the U.S.
Yes, and I have made it my mission, and my sources at the White House have indicated to me that they will not accept anything close to a clean DACA, any clean DACA, amnesty. They're just not going to do that. They're going to require chain migration, lottery end. I hope, E-Verify, and definitely the wall. And it shouldn't be just a down payment. It should be a complete commitment to build the wall. And I hope they do the entire RAISE Act. Mitch McConnell said on my show, Dave, I thought it was a really important step. He said he supported the RAISE Act, and he's completely in favor of doing the RAISE Act. Now, to me, that's it. The parents can't stay of these so-called kids. Their grandparents can't be here. None of that can happen. They all have to go home. But if they want that DACA amnesty so bad, then they're going to have to. They're going to have to give up these other little bennies that they've been dining out on for years. I'll have your closing thoughts on the year now, Dave. And again, we just appreciate you so much.
Yeah, well, year end. I mean, let's remember Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and everything that made this country great. Right, the Judeo-Christian tradition, the rule of law, the free market system, which has made us incredibly rich beyond our comprehension. The conservative movement is in favor of all three of those. And think about it, Hillary and the left, they oppose all three, are under assault. And so I want to just urge everybody, keep the faith, but take action this year. The left is taking action.
Oh, big time.
They're funding Democratic candidates with small dollar thing. Republicans aren't doing that. They're writing op-eds. They're starting blogs with the young people. They're getting the college kids involved. We have everything to offer those college kids, right? We have jobs and a positive, bright future to offer them, and the left cannot match that offer. And so I just urge everybody, take action, follow me if you can, follow other fighters who you like, support us as best you can, and just have a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, great New Year, enjoy the holidays, enjoy your family, but come back ready to roll because we need you. We need you on board.
That's a great way to end it. Great message from Dave Bratt, Congressman from the great Commonwealth of Virginia, which we need to bring back fully into Republican conservative territory. We're not going to bring it with old Bush Republicans. We're going to bring it with a new style Republican, a la Donald Trump and the conservative populist movement. Dave Bratt, Merry Christmas to you and your family. We're going to take a break on the Laura Ingraham Show, 855-40-LAURA. The Vice President will join us also on television tonight. A lot more on our plate. We'll get through it together. This will be a happy... Right? It sounds like... You know what Nico's doing all around the house? He's grabbing like old magazines and wrapping them up and saying, Dima, Merry Christmas. I'm thinking, is this a practical joke, or is this, it's the thought that counts, kind of, right? And then he takes like Dima's guitar, and he tapes onto the wood of the guitar, wrapped up poorly, of course.
Oh, no.
And then he puts it under the tree, to Dima from Santa. I went up to, I said, Nico, this is a gift Dimitri already received from us last year, and now it's damaged because it has Scotch tape all over it. And I wanted to give him a gift. Like, well, maybe take the money that you stole out of his wallet last week, and you go buy a gift. He is lefto. I'm not kidding you. He's lifting. He has what's it? Sticky fingers. Yeah, he's lifting. Maria said, I thought I had $40 from my last birthday in my wallet. Nico's like looking up in the air with his eyeballs. The Russians have a way of stealing things. They take things away from you. You do want them. Susan Collins says, she's saying that the media is sexist because of what they said about her support of the tax bill. It's about time she got a little criticism. All she does is get lionized by the media. Now she knows what the rest of us feel like. Let's listen. We have I guess we don't have the audio. Okay. She said, I cannot believe that the press would have treated another senator with 20 years of experience as they have treated me, the Maine senator told reporters at the Capitol. I imagine is on audio. They've ignored everything that I've gotten, and there have been stories after stories about how I've been duped. How are you duped when all of your amendments get accepted? The more moderate Republican has often won praise from liberals for backing Planned Parenthood. An abortion in every stocking, is that it? Well, she now, I mean, again, these people think they're loved by the press because they're used by the press. They don't love her. She has an R after her name. They don't love her. They use her. Now she knows what it's like to feel used by the press. And it should teach her a lesson. Come over to the conservative fold, Susan. Most of your maniacs really are conservatives at heart. I got a little too annoyed. I should have just let her continue to tell half-truths about what our framers would have intended.
It was powerful, and
Okay, the facts are 2 illegal immigrants are in our custody, a 17-year-old and a 19-year-old. And she made this big deal. Well, they're in the refugee office custody versus the ICE custody. Who cares? They're in our custody. They shouldn't be in this country. They came here pregnant to get abortions. One is now almost 6 months pregnant, late second trimester. And they want us to facilitate their abortions. Now, they're going to get private money to pay for the abortions. Blood money, thank you. Private money to pay for their abortions. So this lawyer comes on and says, well, this is the law. We owe them health care. And I was trying to say what you couldn't hear. Maybe we have another soundbite. That, so now a baby's a disease. Well, to these people, a baby is a disease. So while she was on from Boston, I had my producers in New York pull up a photo of a preborn baby who was born prematurely. Let's see, to state it correctly, born prematurely at 6 months. Mm-hmm. And it was a little girl. And she was beautiful, a little tiny, preemie. But, most go on to survive. Many without any lingering health problems. That's our technology today. That's how much we've learned about prenatal deliveries. Premature deliveries, I should say. Get my terminology straight, Laura. But you get the point. So I keep hearing, well, the judge said, well, the judges did Dred Scott, too. The judges allowed segregation in the country for years and years. So now the judges are masters? We can never question judges?
This girl needed to have an abortion.
A Texas judge she didn't need to have an abortion. No. Okay.
A Texas judge appointed a guardian ad litem and determined.
Mute the mic.
Okay, but what we need to do is stick to the law, though.
Okay.
It makes sense.
Now, the law makes sense. So when you get home, and as a human being, we were all former embryos, correct? As a human being, I just want you to look at that face that we just showed on the TV screen. I know it's inconvenient. There she is again. Now, stop. I want
again,
you
you're showing things that I can't see. You're showing things that I can't see.
It's okay. I didn't show you a hamster.
And I'm happy to look at it, Laura, but for right now, what I would like to do...
I showed you a baby.
That is a baby. That's completely fine, but I think that you're getting completely sidetracked here.
It's not a hamster. It's not a piece of tissue. It's a baby. Okay, who's getting sidetracked? I'm sticking to the facts. It's a baby.
Speaking of getting sidetracked, and this is a good intro to this story that is terrifying.
What?
Hate to scare you at Christmas time.
All right, let's scare me.
The Weekly Standard has an editorial. GOP could be courting disaster on Obamacare and abortion. This is how it reads.
I heard about this.
Mitch McConnell said Monday that on his to-do list this week is passage of bills to prop up Obamacare. In a December 1st letter, a colloquy with Senator Susan Collins of Maine, whose vote on tax reform he was desperate to get, the Senate Majority Leader expressed support for passing additional legislation funding Obamacare by the end of the year. Here's the problem with that. What's much worse than spending billions more on Obamacare is the possibility that an Obamacare bailout could create new funding streams to fund elective abortion. The bills that Collins wants so desperately passed.
Planned Parenthood devotee. She wants to get back her cred with Planned Parenthood.
And those bills do not currently include the Hyde Amendment, which prohibits federal funding of abortion.
So now the illegal immigrants can get their abortions paid by the
and Americans. Everybody will be abortions for everyone.
Should our country become the abortion magnet of the world? So if your country doesn't allow abortions, does Mexico now allow abortions, Raymond? I think they do now, right?
I think they do now.
Yeah. Yep. So other countries still don't in Central America. I believe, look at Guatemala and Honduras. I don't think they allow abortions. But that having been said, there are many countries that don't allow abortions. So is that now we're not only going to be a magnet for MS-13 and we're going to people who want to come here and have abortions. And then they know that they're going to be taken care of. Then the baby gets aborted. They don't have to go home because, oh, poor babe, poor young woman. And because now she needed an abortion. That's what that guest said. She needed an abortion, like it's a disease. 855-40-LAURA. Do you think I was right to say cut her mic? I probably should just let her talk. I shouldn't. I'm new at this. Ireland now might legalize abortions. Fantastic. It's a travesty. It's a complete travesty. But this is where judges are. This judge is an Obama appointee in the district court in D.C.
And in Mexico, it's state by state. Some allow it, some do not, abortions. So it's in their interest.
Probably under 18, you probably can't get one without your parental consent. Mm-hmm. They're probably better than we are on that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Mitch McConnell better fix that one. I can tell you that. He better fix that one real quick. We got to call over to his office and find out what's going on with that.
But this is going to be a bum's rush to get this bill done.
They made that mistake, and they had to vote at 12:47 last night, right?
Right. So he already botched it once. This was supposed to be done. As it is now, the House is going to vote on it today because the Senate had some parliamentary remnants that they weren't supposed to have in the bill. So they had to pull those out, create a new bill. Now it goes back to the House.
Embarrassing. And he kept saying, well, it's not that big of a deal.
No,
this has happened before. Well, it's all right. It's happened before. And the main thing is that Americans are going to get tax relief. No, that's where we are. 855-40-LAURA. Well, when guests do that, I mean, do you guys all find that annoying? When you're saying something and they continue to talk over you because they don't like the question. That's not conducive to a conversation. But I think it's not at all getting sidetracked to identify what we're about to do with these illegal immigrants. What our government will facilitate. A late second trimester abortion. Now, they'll say you delayed it by 2 weeks because it was challenged in court. Well, yeah, that's ACLU is representing them, by the way. Both girls in different states in the United States. Well, most of the time they just go get abortions and they figure it out, right? They get freebie abortions somewhere, but they happen to be in custody. This is another thing. Why does it take so long to deport someone from the United States? I still think this is a joke. They come in illegally, they're found, it's immediate return home. You get a quick immigration hearing in front of a judge, but you don't get a jury trial. You don't get any of that, obviously, but you get an immigration court hearing, and then it's determined you leave. This shouldn't be people get to stay for 5 years while they challenge their deportation. They're illegally in the country. You have diminished constitutional rights. You don't have a right to start a newspaper, get First Amendment rights, get a right to have a gun, Second Amendment right. No. You get some modicum of protection, as we know, because you get you get to go to public school and you do get basic health care. You do get that as an illegal immigrant. But the idea that you're entitled to have facilitated abortions for 17-year-olds? By the way, they were also told they could have a sponsor, find a sponsor, and if a sponsor wanted to do that, they could, but they wouldn't do that either. They want the government to allow her to be transported to an abortion facility and have it done. 855-40-LAURA. How many of you liked that moment on TV? I enjoyed it thoroughly. Tom, we were howling after the show, though. Tommy, cut her mic, Tommy. Poor Tommy. Tommy's like, oh, we can't do that. Well, I didn't know that. We kind of did cut her mic at the end, and her mouth was moving and nothing was coming out. That was preferable for her. I'm glad people come on and disagree, but just talk one at a time. It's just easier that way. We also had an interesting exchange on Trump's opportunity in the new year to build his movement, especially with African Americans. And when we come back, we'll play that for you. Things got a little out of hand between Joe Trippi and Sean Duffy. Was a man named Scott Bolden, who's come on our show many times, a big Dem, and we'll play for you what happened last night. It was a doozy. And we have lots of votes coming in on what the animatronic Trump looks like at the Hall of the Presidents at Disney. We'll share some of those tonight on the Ingraham angle, but people are still voting on Twitter and on Facebook. So you have to tell us what Trump looks like at Disney. They're clearly that was done on purpose to make him look weird. Doesn't look anything like Donald Trump. Nothing like him. Listen to this. In Connecticut, a school in Connecticut invited Ivanka Trump to speak. And guess what? Parents were upset because they wanted to have the opportunity to pull their kids out of the class before she spoke. We'll get to all of that coming up on the Laura Ingraham Show. 855-40-LAURA.
This Christmas, don't give your loved ones the same old stocking stuffers they get every year. Give them a gift that's actually fun. Like my favorite game, Say Anything. It's our go-to game when we have time with friends and family. And it's one of those few games that you can actually play casually. There's no stress, no timer, no rush. It's amazing. Say Anything is about as relaxed a game as you can get. And everyone in the family can play together because Say Anything is great for all ages. Now that I think about it, it's actually best when you have a group of all ages because you get to hear from so many different perspectives. It's hilarious. If you're 10 or you're 80 years old, it doesn't matter. You answer the same question, and the results will be knee slappers, I promise. There's only a few days left before Christmas, so make sure you give a gift that's fun. It's called Say Anything. You can get it at any Target store, so next time you're in Target, which is almost daily for most of us, get Say Anything. I
figure I won the argument when I bring him to the conclusion that Donald Trump is a racist. Donald Trump brought unemployment to a historic all-time low for African Americans. Never happened before. And he tried to give Obama credit for that. And he's like, well, Obama was handed the worst economy since the greatest. So I said, now you're blaming Bush? Now you're back on Bush and Obama. This is ridiculous. No wonder you guys can't get any traction. 855-40-LAURA. Let's go to Tommy in Pennsylvania. A lot of people calling in about the animatronic Trump. What he looks like at Disney, and also that segment where I muted the woman's mic in Boston. Go ahead, Tommy.
You absolutely did the right thing. I directed television news for 13 years. That lady knew she was losing the argument. That's why she just kept talking over you. So I know you were kind of iffy if you did the right thing. In my opinion, you absolutely did the right thing. That lady knew she was losing the argument. So that's just my opinion. If anything, you probably should have cut her mic just a little bit earlier. But that's probably it.
Here's the deal. I always want people to be able to finish what they're saying. However, when I put the picture of the baby up on the screen, again, what are we talking about? Let's fully inform the viewers. This is not a piece of tissue. This is not a blob. This is a preborn human being. And once you see the photo, just like at abortion clinics, once these women actually see a sonogram, they usually will turn their thinking around, oftentimes, because it's undeniable when you see it. It's the truth. I don't care what some life tenured judge put on the court by Obama, who used to work for David Boies, thinks. I care about what I'm seeing. 5 fingers on the left hand, 5 fingers on the right, 10 toes, 2 eyes, and a heart, beating heart. It's a human being. Ridiculous. 855-40-LAURA. We're getting lots of responses. Some of the responses to the Trump animatronic are a little over the top. I mean, people say they look like Hillary. Although, is there any truth to the rumor that Disney was preparing for a Hillary animatronic because everyone thought Hillary was going to win, and they just kind of redid the cast of the clay or whatever they make it out of.
Yeah, the plastic, yeah, rubber.
And then they just changed it to Trump at the last minute. I mean, I don't know if there's anything to that. It does at a certain.
Disney is
so Disney.
They spend millions and billions of dollars on these attractions. So, I mean, the idea that they're going to reuse a Hillary doll is
I think now that Rupert Murdoch is how much percentage of Disney does he own? 20%? 25. Now that he's a 25% owner of Disney, they should redo the ride Soarin' and do it, and the Soarin' should go over the swamp in Washington. Oh, there's the HHS. Oh, yeah, those are the 5,000. You know, it goes over the Golden Gate Bridge and the Grand Canyon.
Soaring over California.
Yeah, it would be soaring over Washington, D.C., the swamp. Oh, my gosh, that would be hilarious. Here's the bar where Ted Kennedy was drunk under the table with Chris Dodd back in the 80s. Oh, there we go. I love that ride. I think that and the Cars ride in Anaheim. Soarin' was closed in Anaheim when Anaheim Disneyland.
Oh, really?
But it was operating in Orlando. I love that ride, but I love the Cars ride. That's my favorite ride. The kids that you can race each other in the Cars ride. Oh my gosh, I wish I could have done. I should have done that like 3 times, just
the fun ride
over and over again. Oh, it's so much fun. But entering that area of Disney, that's turned into a hellhole. That parts of the neighborhoods around. Remember, it was all orange groves when he bought that land, right, Raymond? He should have bought it all. Yep. Oh, he had the money to buy it all. Well, he regretted it, right?
Yeah, he bought what he could.
It's turned into tiendas and check cashing stores and bail bondsmen. Nasty. It's a nasty area. No. This is really grimy. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, happiest place on earth. That's the way. Like I just almost got shot down the road. Happiest place on earth. It is awful. Right around the neighborhood as you're driving through to Disney. Aren't I just a bundle of optimism?
Christmas cheer.
Teen is right around the corner. It's hard to believe, and that means, of course, your car is just that much older, and it'll be out of its warranty, and then you're going to get the repair bills, and it always seems to happen that way. Just as you lose the coverage on your manufacturer's warranty, the big repairs start rolling in. Don't get caught in that situation. Sign up like I did to be a member of CarShield. It's extended vehicle service protection that will save you hundreds, even thousands of dollars for covered repairs. They actually have plans now that cover those complicated computers and sensors, the GPS in your car, practically everything. So if your car's between 3 and 12 years old, doesn't mean you have to pay these high repair bills. Get CarShield, and they'll get them paid directly. Your favorite mechanic or your dealership, they'll get the reimbursement. You don't even have to be out of pocket for that. So it's a good deal. You sign up today, and you get a special welcome bonus. You'll get the 24/7 roadside assistance and a rental while yours is in the shop. CarShield has paid out over $2 billion in claims, and they're ready to help you. So get vehicle service protection that's extended by CarShield. Go to carshield.com. Use the code Laura. carshield.com. Code Laura to save 10%. Also call them at 800-CAR-6100. That's 800-CAR-6100. The Democrats are going to be in full-on resistance in the new year. This is all they have. They've tried pretty much everything. They've tried throwing billions and billions and billions, actually more than billion, trillions, of stimulus into the economy. They tried with stimulus and son of stimulus, and they did they tried to help the car industry with the car bailout. They did TARP. They've done welfare. They've done subsidizing people for having kids out of wedlock thing. They've done all this stuff. They offered increased coverage and food stamps, and they did the special insurance for the kids. They've done all this. They've tried to do mentoring programs with Hollywood celebrities. They had 8 years under Obama. And meanwhile, we still had black unemployment, Latino unemployment at unacceptably high rates. Far higher than, of course, white unemployment, Asian unemployment. And yet Trump has done the best so far on just that one metric of the unemployment rate. And despite what some of my guests said last night, Donald Trump was able to, bring people and businesses, beginning to bring them back into the United States, recapitalize businesses here so we can keep jobs here. If businesses come back here and decide to stay here and not go over to Asia, then that means more jobs for Americans, even with robotics and all that. You have more jobs. And we want everybody to have a job, or as Republicans said today, can't remember who it was, it would be nice if your kid graduated from college and had a choice, 1 or 2 jobs to choose from. Not just, I have to go work at the strip mall. Maybe you had a couple of jobs to choose from that would help pay the bills and help pay off your student loans. So I think the resistance is going to be strong and harsh, and we don't know what Mueller's going to do. We don't know what's ultimately going to come down the pike on that. We'll see how this tax bill plays out for the regular people.
Well, that'll be the telltale sign. How does this end up shaking out for the American people? Do they have more to spend? Does it truly unleash the innovation and the investment from the business community? Because look, corporations are getting a big tax cut here, and if that pans out, the president and the Republicans are going to do great in the midterms. If it doesn't, it's going to be an uphill battle.
Well, I think that's right, and the polls now will probably not look exactly the way they're going to look a year from now. Donald Trump needs to get those numbers.
Yeah, because these polls today on this tax bill, I mean, NBC, Wall Street Journal, 24% of Americans think the tax bill is good.
That's a bad storytelling on the part of Republicans.
Yep. Opposition to the bill has popped up 10 points in CNN's polling since last month.
That's like how they screwed up the Obamacare narrative. Remember, more people supported Obamacare. That more people ended up supporting Obamacare after the Republicans got in charge of Congress.
But they are committed to selling this message now that it's passed, and they're going to have to go out and sell it. It's all they have. I mean, this and the accomplishments of the president. But as you said, they need to now sell the happy, positive narrative, not the gloom and doom fight. You're in charge now. You've got both branches of government, so you've got to move forward now. But look, it's a sunny picture when you look at the stock market, when you look at job growth,
what's odd?
manufacturing,
I'll tell you
all
what's
that's
odd.
up.
This is what's strange, is that the right track, wrong track numbers are still bad.
Now, why do you think that is?
I think a lot of it is people get their news still from traditional outlets, and they're hearing just one note. You're not getting any relief. Trump's a nightmare. Trump hates, minorities. His family are just going to benefit. NBC did this thing where Trump's family benefits from they actually focused on who benefits, and they said Donald Trump's family, thumbs up. They actually did that on, I think it was MSNBC yesterday.
Yeah, they did a lot of reporting on that. But again, anyone who has a corporation, you're going to get a tax cut. But we knew that. That was part of the deal. And look, this plays, if you talk to almost any economist, they will tell you, you can't be competitive when you've got China with very low taxes and America with a 39% corporate tax. You're not going to get investment in the country that way. So this makes America competitive. Doesn't mean it'll win everything, but at least it's competitive. You can get in the game.
Well, Drudge has this thing that 8 in 10 Americans feel stress and anxiety. I'm surprised it's only 8 in 10. Are afflicted by stress during the day, sometimes or frequently.
During the holidays or all year?
I think it's between December 4th and 11th.
Oh.
17% say they rarely feel stressed. That must be nice.
Who are those people?
While 4% say they never do. What would you say? The 17% who say they rarely feel stressed, while 4% say they never feel stressed. That's 21%. How many people think they have young kids? The 21%.
Right.
Those are probably people who are just retired and have enough to enjoy their
Those
time.
50 and older, particularly 65 plus, are much less likely than those who are younger to say they feel stressed.
That's what I'm saying. Well, they're grown up. They're like, life is not, the world does not revolve around them.
Right.
And they know they don't have much time left, and they got to enjoy the time they have. You're less stressed when you have your health, I think.
Well,
what causes you the most stress? Just don't infect me over there across that table. What causes the most stress for you in your life? Or how do you rate? Are you frequently stressed throughout the day? Sometimes stressed throughout the day? Rarely stressed throughout the day?
Frequently.
Or never?
I would fall into the frequently
I'm frequently.
category.
I'm definitely frequently.
You're tilting. You're off the charts. What's above frequently?
But it's my
constant.
It's my normal though. So it's not really a.
So it's factored in. It's not stressful.
I don't know. It's like
you're so stressed that there's no stress at all.
Yeah, it's like the tax reform was already baked into the market. My stress is already baked into me.
So it doesn't matter.
I don't think so.
So you don't feel it. It has no effect.
Well, I do have a burning stomach right now, but I don't know what that is. I had some Pepto a little earlier. I don't know what that is. It's been burning for a couple days. Do you think
that's called
bad?
Stress.
I don't know. I don't know what that is. 40. That's exciting radio. My goiter hurt. So you got 44% who say they feel stressed frequently. 35% say they're sometimes stressed. 17% say rarely. 4% never. Who are these never?
Very Zen people.
Oh, they're Buddhists. They're the Buddhists in the group. Or the nuns, the Buddhists. Who else?
I don't know. I know some pretty stressed nuns.
You do?
Yeah. Well, they
fun.
work hard. Some of them work hard. You know, particularly the teaching orders. You imagine you've got, 30 kids.
Now,
That's
I just
high
go
stress.
into the classroom to volunteer, and I look at the teachers and say, how do you do this? How do you do this? Well, the first grade? You go into the first grade class. First of all, we did not speak in first grade when the teacher spoke. They're jabbering away. You know what? The kids aren't afraid of consequences. Our Mrs. Reese in Eastbury Public School, I think her name was Mrs. Reese, if I remember. She would whack that ruler down on the table. Oh, that got your attention real fast. And it wasn't even a Catholic school; it's a public school. Whack it down. It's like a sound of a whip, and you got your attention real fast. How many people feel stress frequently, sometimes, or rarely, or never? Where do you fall in, and why are you stressed? I don't know if stressed is the right word for what I am and thinking about it. Is it stress, Raymond?
You give me stress. What do you mean stress? You're like a stress compounder. You're a relay station of stress. No, I'm sure you feel none of it. It hits everybody else.
I'm a switching station for stress.
Right.
So it's like it comes to me and I then deliver it to you.
Right. You are like the Star Wars. Remember Reagan wanted to build the Star Wars
SDI.
thing? SDI.
Strategic Defense
Initiative. You're the SDI of stress. You just send it out to everybody else.
It's a force field.
Yes, the Death Star. You're the stress star. That'll be in the next movie.
Well, people are stressed about health. Like if you have a serious health condition, a loved one has a serious health condition, and money.
I take it's not empathy for my cold here. That you're
oh my God, the tissues, the stress.
It's a bad head cold.
A wastebasket, Taylor, so he doesn't have to put it on my desk so that germs, those live for weeks on that.
I'm going to build a little Mayan temple over here.
855-40-LAURA. I want to hear from you. What causes you stress, or are you not stressed at all? I think it's, okay, here it is. It's money.
Yes.
Health.
Yes.
And relationships.
And deadlines.
And kids. And
children.
The show starts in 10 minutes. Where's the scripts? I'm not really stressed about that much. I know it's going to get done. It's part of what gets me going. If I just had nothing to do in the morning, I'd be like, what do I do now? This is the kind of job where you have to be on a lot. It's not stress. Stress is if you're fleeing your homeland and you don't know what your next meal is going to come from and your kid can't eat.
Right.
That's stress. But I love these kids in high school. I'm so stressed.
Oh, please.
Why are you stressed? Oh, I have finals and, my mother won't let me use Instagram and Snapchat account got shut. I'm stressed. I hear that about kids today are stressed. We are so spoiled in this country. We are spoiled and we don't know what. This is what my kids say. I'm stressed out. I say, I'll give you stress. I'm stressed out. Oh, please. 855-40-LAURA. We'll get your calls on this, a lot more coming up.
Well, they do say that stress multiplies at the holidays. I'm reading a piece from The Guardian. Festive stress, why the Christmas season can be anything but merry. And it talks about the festive workload. You have to put in more time, getting everything from the school closures, worrying about relatives coming in. What are you going to cook for the holidays? Of course, gifts, presents for the family. It's all too much. And the expectations of the holidays, and other things, the family conflict. Remember, this is, in some people's cases, it is the only time, or maybe the second time of the year, where they all actually come together. And that can be stressful. Craig in Iowa, are you stressed?
Well, yes and no, and I don't mean to sound that way, but I've been retired from the Army after 22 years, for 10 years, and I've worked about 6 different jobs. I have benefits, which I have learned in the last 10 years, meaning the medical benefits and things of that nature through my wife, and then through TRICARE for Life. I'm working for FedEx right now and enjoying my life immensely. But I think
you're not stressed with the FedEx delivery load? Craig?
As long as each package gets delivered and it gets to the right address and the right people, I take it one at a time and move on each day. And basically, that's the way my life has always been. It's pretty orderly. I gathered that from having been a police officer and a fireman before I went in the military. And then, but my wife has the school stress every day of being a school teacher, and she's been doing that for 22 years. And so I try to not tell her that I try to tell her I'm really stressed, and so she won't think I'm having fun out here. And but
are you delivering now, Craig?
You know, I do. I took a little bit of a 5-minute break, but I'm delivering. I'm having a great time, and it's opened my eyes to an awful lot of things out here with people that it's all about, do you feel like you can provide in whatever shape or form, where it's medical or money or whatever. And unfortunately, I think, just like James Carville said, I met him at a hotel about 5 years ago when I worked at a hotel in these last 10 years, and he and his wife, Mary Matlin, and they said, it's all about the economy, stupid. And I don't mean it to sound that way, but it is exactly what it is. It's about security and how you feel day in and day out about being able to provide. And if you can provide, then, you know, I think it makes it an awful lot easier. And
it gives
I've
you
been doing
peace.
that all my life.
It gives you peace. Well, I like your perspective, Craig, particularly at the holidays, taking everything one step, one package, one event at a time. That's all you can do. And Mary and James are dear friends, and they, too, know how to balance their life out. You know, they party hard and they work hard. That's how we do it in New Orleans. We're going to take the rest of your calls in a moment. Stay right there. The Laura Ingraham Show continues. We'll keep talking about stress.